drew me to studying biology was I grew up around nature and enjoying natural environments and being outside. I've gone to a lot of national parks, and I always wanted to be involved in that. And when I started college, I knew I wanted to do a biology degree, but I didn't know in sort of what capacity. But as I started to take more ecology classes and be in labs and things like that, I realized that I really wanted to work outside, hands-on, fieldwork based research. And that's what brought me to doing a PhD in biology, which really is more on the restoration ecology side. So I do a lot of field work, and hopefully my project will take me in that direction. I would love to work in resource management for the National Park Service, the Bureau of Land Management, some sort of federal land agency, to help with research and maintaining those sorts of beautiful natural spaces. What brought me to Temple was the project that I am currently on for my PhD, which is studying an endangered species of butterfly. But what really sealed the deal for me was coming to Ambler. So when they flew me out to visit for Admitted Students Weekend, there were a bunch of events going on, but the master's student out of Brent's lab, Chris LeClaire, thought it was really important for me as a prospective student of Dr. Sewell's lab to come see the Ambler campus, where a lot of Dr. Sewell's work has been. And coming out here and seeing how accessible such a beautiful, interesting, fascinating, like, natural space was just outside of Philadelphia, as someone who really prioritizes having access to green spaces and making sure that's accessible for other people, seeing this as an opportunity to work in outreach and getting to work here at the field station as a research assistant was really a huge draw to add on top of how incredibly cool my project is going to be. So I'm a research assistant here at the field station. I am sort of a supervisor for some of our interns. I really sort of just manage the bigger projects that are going on at the field station. So, like, censusing our forests and helping the interns collect their data for their projects, and also just sort of generally making sure the field station is running smoothly. And that's basically it. I don't do any independent research here at the field station yet. We'll see how that goes. So my research at the Sewell Lab is with the eastern regal fritillary, which is a threatened butterfly that is currently in the process of being listed under the Endangered Species Act. There's only one population left in the world, and it's at a military base just outside of Hershey, Pennsylvania. And I am hoping I'm hoping my project will be something to do with management plans and prescribed burning and restoration for prairie habitats to hopefully reintroduce the butterfly in other places. I think the biggest thing I've gotten out of working with the field station is new perspectives. It's always really wonderful getting to work in ecology because more often than not, everyone's coming from different backgrounds and everyone experiences their environment very differently. And I think that's one of my favorite things about meeting new people in ecology fields and also working with interns is getting to share the reasons why I love working out here, but also getting to see what brings them out here and what keeps people out here. Because for a lot of our interns, this is their first time with any fieldwork experience, and we have many, many interns that decide to continue into future semesters, and even some consider going to graduate school to further their education, which is really beautiful because fieldwork is not always the most accessible thing, and having it right here in Ambler makes that a really wonderful opportunity and something that I love being able to share with other people. I think how close it is and how accessible it is to the Temple community makes it a very unique position as a field station. Most field stations tend to be in fairly remote areas or are less accessible to the average everyday student. Ambler is just a bus ride away. The main campus, the shuttle between is super accessible and makes it very easy for students to come back and forth. And I think that makes Ambler, like the field station, a very unique place because it's so close, but it's also so different than anything you could get in the city or any sort of lecture-based ecology class you may have. This really puts it into perspective and puts it into action. I think the campus is a resource for students because it's very hands-on. It's very accessible for professors to use for practical lab experience, for really seeing the things that we talk about in classes. So like I took an invasive species class with Dr. Mariana Bonfim, and you can sit in a classroom all day and look at pictures of invasive species and talk about how they spread, but getting to come out here in a place where unfortunately there are invasive species and getting to see how those things interact with the natural environment and interact with native species, that sort of practical overlap is not super common in a lot of universities, especially universities that are very inner city like Temple. But with this campus and this field station, we have an opportunity to bring that to people and to really give a hands-on visual approach to learning about the environment. I think for me, the benefit of getting hands-on experience was just seeing how I, as just an individual student, could have an impact or could have an influence on the world around me. A lot of times, I think when you work in a larger field like ecology, where a lot of the things you're looking at are huge environment scale and like the problems that we're facing with biodiversity and climate change, like those are all huge overarching problems. But getting to have hands-on experience and getting to measure a tree and seeing how that tree has grown over 3 years or however long we've been censusing them, I think that really puts into perspective how important just one student or one person can be in having an influence on future research and future bigger impacts with something as simple as like learning how to process plant data or something like that. I think students should become a part of the field station because it's accessible, it's easy to be here, and it's a great opportunity to foray into research you may not have access to otherwise. Speaking personally, where I went to undergrad, we didn't have any ecology-based labs. And so to get ecology fieldwork was typically over the summer, or you had to sacrifice a semester to be off campus in a different location, far away from all your friends and things, to be able to do that sort of research. Here, it's just a bus ride away, and you can take a class and you can get that practical experience and be out here, touch some grass, see some trees, see some really, really cool things that you might not be able to see in the city. But you don't have to go very far, and there aren't a lot of sacrifices you have to make to get that experience. And I've seen it already, even though it's just been my first semester, that there were students that I took invasive species with that then reached out to Dr. Mariana about becoming an intern here and trying to get more field experience and see a little bit more of what we have to offer. And so I think that for any student who's interested in just seeing what ecology is about and seeing what we have here to offer at the field station, it's easy to get here, and most people I've found once they get here, they don't really want to leave. So I will be returning, hopefully in the fall of 2025. I'm very excited to be a research assistant. I'll have a whole new group of interns, and I will also be working with some of the interns that are continuing through the next year. I'll be assuming a very similar role, but I will be taking a little bit more action in terms of mentoring and really getting hands-on with the interns and their independent projects. In the spring, I will be a teaching assistant for invertebrate biology with Dr. Rob Jennings. Very excited. And then over the summer, I'll be a research assistant, probably up in Hershey with the butterflies. So I'll be collecting my first round of data for my project.